The Oklahoma Sooners doing without another wide receiver.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Sooner Nation? Welcome to Locked On Sooners, and thank you for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Go place a $5 bet, and you'll get $200 back in bonus bets guaranteed over at FanDuel.com. Go do that. It's America's #1 sports book. He's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. And we got better offensive line news. Nobody on the injury report, but Deion Burks is out for the Oklahoma Sooners in their matchup with the Texas Longhorns. Initially, when Brent Venables first spoke about it, he said there was a possibility, there's potential, and I think I took that as a positive sign. Turns out he was being real.
It was a we'll see. It was like a for real we'll see. I didn't think that the we'll see was going to end up in this situation, but at the same time, we know that his injury appears to be a lot more serious than expected. Maybe something deep, like a deep. I know this was quad related. It's probably like a really deep bruise, and those deep bruises take time to have to heal, especially if you don't rehab them right. If you don't rehab them right, that could into some long-term problems for him. And so he's probably taking the cautious step, making sure he's dotting his I's and crossing his T's, or dotting his T's and crossing his I's to make sure that he is taken care of, and so he can play later on in this season, or just even long-term in general. So it's unfortunate that we will still be down our top 5 wide receivers, but I feel like there's some hope because, John, there's one player on that list that didn't show up on that list that got me excited. Taylor Tatum's back.
Yeah,
it feels like he's actually back.
Yeah, and that's huge, man, because you're going to need every offensive piece of weaponry you have in your arsenal. And listen, Taylor Tatum, he's been good in spurts. He's had opportunities to make some plays, both in the run game and as a receiver, and you might need him to catch some passes in the passing game to help you get ahead of the chains a little bit in this one. But to lose Deion Burks, or to not have him available for the second game in a row against Texas in Michael Hawkins' second start, it's just, man, it's such a disappointment, and it's a bummer because I was expecting him to be back. I think a lot of people were, and to not have him is going to put a lot more pressure on JJ Hester and Brenen Thompson and Jacoby Johnson and Jaquays Petaway and Zion Reagans. And those guys got to step up, man. And listen, they did. JJ Hester had a big game against Auburn, came through with the big 60-yard reception, had another 18-yard catch, broke a few tackles. Those guys are playing tough. They're playing good ball. Now it's time to take that to another level because Michael Hawkins is going to need you for them to have a chance to win this football game.
Yeah, it's going to be critical that the running backs find a way to get to some holes and make something happen. We're going to need to eat up as much clock as possible. I kind of feel this one similar to the Alabama-Vanderbilt game, where Vanderbilt had the ball for 42 minutes. Now, granted, I don't see us doing it for that long, but I can see us trying to hog the ball for most of the game. And if we can do that, I feel like that gives us a really good chance. I mean, I think our running backs can. I think Tatum has done a really good job of finding the holes, getting the right cuts. Barnes is getting a little bit better, but he's even better if you do that outside zone and he can just run by. And heck, now that you got Michael Hawkins out there, may as well pull out the triple option, some wing T, flex bone, wishbone, funny bone. I don't care. Just do something that keeps the chains moving and keep Texas on misdirection to where they don't know what's coming at them. And then Michael can toss the ball deep if it needs to, hit some short passes, some shallow crosses. I mean, there's so many options and a plethora of things that he can do that we've seen him be capable of doing. Like, there's no fear. He'll pull the trigger. We're going to need to do that. And in this game, like I said, the biggest thing is keeping the chains going and keeping the clock running. That's what's going to be our saving grace.
Yeah, let me just say, I really want to just see them run Seth Luttrell's offense. I just want to see them run that open kind of air raid style concept where they're getting guys out into the concept, finding soft spots in the zone, and making plays in the passing game. I know that you don't have big time receivers that you can rely on, but I don't necessarily think you have an offense that's built to go run the ball 50 times.
Yeah.
At least they haven't proven that just yet. So as much as, hey, we want to rely on the run game, that's fine, but you're going to need your quarterback to throw the ball to win this game.
Yeah.
And you're going to need Michael Hawkins to show off the arm talent that he's got. And I think he can. The Wildcat 2022 scenario just has me like worried that they are going to go into this one with a conservative game plan, trying to do something that they don't do a whole lot. And I don't think it's going to benefit them. I want to see them go into this game in attack mode. I want them to go in with nothing to lose, nothing to fear, and go take the fight to the Texas Longhorns, because that's the only way that you're going to win. We saw how things went south in 2022 when they had this conservative approach and they were just trying not to lose. They ended up getting beat like they stole something. It was bad.
And that's the one thing you don't want to do. You don't want to go into this game with the mindset of playing not to lose. You got to go out there and play that you want to win. You got to go out there and play like you have to win, which, I mean, granted, you technically do. You need this to keep yourself and keep your hopes going for the rest of the season. But the biggest piece here is, if there's anything this team needs to do, they need to be super physical. And we'll talk about the keys on both sides of the ball in a minute. But with the injuries, the good thing is that the offensive line looks healthy. Gary Hatchett is the only name that's still on there from the offensive line. That gets us excited. We talked about Deshaun McCullough. He's come off of the sheet as well. Like, really right now is K. McIntyre and Deion Burks are on your quote-unquote questionable. We'll probably see them both. Well, Burks will be listed as out come Friday on that report. But, I mean, maybe you can get K. McIntyre back. If anything, though, not having offensive linemen on there,
it gives you a chance.
That helps a lot.
It gives you a chance. I mean, it gives you a chance to be better than what you were against Auburn if they can continue to play together and improve. This
is what, 3 weeks now? 3 weeks of continuity?
At practice,
you can't beat that.
No, that's huge, man. That is a huge plus. It's crazy the kind of silver linings we're having to find with the offensive line and the offense right now, because when just having continuity is a huge deal. We've spoken about it a ton on the show, but the fact that it's taken until this part of the season to get 3 weeks of reps with the same offensive line together is just bananas. It's bonkers. But having them together is going to be huge. Hopefully it improves the run game. Hopefully it improves the pass protection, which can improve the passing offense, because you're going to need to play a complete game in every facet, and you need the offense to hum. You need it to be better than it's been at any point this season. And I think it has a chance. It's just going to take guys stepping up. It's going to take JJ Hester building off what he did 2 weeks ago. It's going to be Brenen Thompson taking what he's done, which I think has been solid. It hasn't been spectacular, taking his solid and turning it into a good. It's Jacoby Johnson coming out and, for whatever package of plays he has, actually being an impactful contributor to the offense. It's, Zion Reagan's, taking the snaps that he's gotten to this point and building on it and showing that he can be a guy that you can throw the ball to 5 to 7 times in a game and get efficient production out of him. So it's just a matter of like the offense. Nobody's going to feel sorry for Oklahoma come Saturday at 2:30 p.m. Nobody's going to feel sorry for Oklahoma.
Not at all.
Nobody's going to make excuses for what happens in the Cotton Bowl. Nobody's going to, bat an eye at throwing Oklahoma under the bus if they don't perform. So what has to happen? The guys that are available have to go out and perform.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. It's you get the opportunity, it's placed in front of you. Let's show why some of you were top 150 recruits. Let's show why some of you were top 100 recruits. Let's show why some of you were top transfer portal guys. Let's go ahead and put it all on the field and show out. And I think they can. I think we're now at that point as we're getting healthier and healthier. We're doing the opposite of other teams. A lot of teams are getting more hurt. We're starting to get back to players coming back. So in time, Brent Venables mentioned that in a few weeks, he expects some of the wide receivers to get back. So we may see some Farouk. We may see Burks. Heck, we may see Nick Anderson magically come back. If time lines up properly and some of those guys do return, then we're really going to be dangerous.
It's time to get dangerous. We're
going to talk Magic, baby.
Yeah, we're going to talk keys to the game coming up here on Locked On Sooners. ZBiotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make ZBiotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. Look, I won't lie. I was a bit on the fence about pre-alcohol initially, but then while hanging out with some friends, getting ready for the fall season, I gave it a shot. And believe me, it's the real deal. So step one, drink pre-alcohol. For best results, make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly. Make sure you pace yourself, hydrate, and get a good night's sleep. And then enjoy tomorrow. Wake up feeling refreshed and ready to take on the day. Go to zbiotics.com/lockedoncollege to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use Locked On College at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money. No question asks. Remember to head to zbiotic.com/lockedoncollege and use code lockedoncollege at checkout for 15% off.
Hey, football fans, time to go ahead and get in this season and get some big returns with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. So if you get a hunch while watching one of the games, you want to check out some live stats, look at the play-by-play stuff, you can see all of that in the exact same spot where you place your bet. Oklahoma's still sitting at a 14-point dog in this game. There's an opportunity to go out there and maybe make a little money if Oklahoma pulls the upset. And if you want to try that, you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. So go check them out over there at FanDuel.com, America's #1 sportsbook.
Again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers for tuning in and subscribing to the show wherever they get their podcasts. We're free and available on every platform and on YouTube. Locked On Sooners is your team every day. Jay Smith, what is one of the offensive keys to the game for the Oklahoma Sooners?
Protecting the ball. We talked about it last segment. One thing is you got to make sure that you have a good time of possession. You got to have the ball, but protecting it as well while they're on offense. Turnovers are something that you can't afford in this game right now, especially while you're still ramping up. You're still trying to figure out the offense. You're still trying to get things going. And so holding on to the ball, not making silly mistakes, not doing silly passes, not doing silly laterals. Make sure that you're as tight as possible on the offensive side. Now, from there, I do want some risks to be taken here there, John, but you don't want them to be the ones where it's not a chance of actually getting it. You want to try deep, but you want to make sure that it's your wide receiver catching it or it's going out of bounds. But if anything, protecting the ball. What's one of the keys do you see for the Sooners in this game?
Yeah, I think they got to get the passing game going early. I think you've got to find a way to get Michael Hawkins in a rhythm in this game and put Texas on notice that, hey, we're going to throw the football and we're going to come out attacking you. You've got to figure out a way to get your guys in space and get them the ball down the field. You can't live 5 yards within the line of scrimmage. You cannot do that. You've got to be able to push things down 15 yards or more down the field to stretch the defense out, get them off the line of scrimmage. That way you can run the ball. And Michael Hawkins, when he decides to run, has more room to run when, there's safeties in the back, playing 15 yards, 20 yards deep, because you have to be concerned with the passing threat. If they're not concerned with the passing threat, it's going to be much like the Michigan game. They're going to load the box, they're going to take everything away, and they're going to make the quarterback beat you. There's going to be opportunities in this game for Michael Hawkins to do just that, because he's a better thrower than Alex Orji is. He's a better thrower than the other guy that Michigan rolled out there.
Yeah.
He's a better thrower than those guys. He's absolutely better. So it's going to take pushing the ball down the field. It's going to take taking advantage of some of those one-on-one opportunities that you get on the outside. And we saw against Auburn 2 weeks ago that they were able to do that. When the opportunity strikes, strike.
Yeah. You got to start launching it, right? And leveraging the outside. I mean, I know we do a lot of inside zone. We've got to do some more of the outside, get some sweeps. Heck, Michael Hawkins is fast enough. Give me some triple option, or give me some read options, some speed options, something to where you got him moving. if you keep the pocket moving, it makes it a lot tougher for that defensive line to really be able to settle in and win every battle, because then they're gonna have to switch it up. They don't know which direction the line may let them go past them on the left side, but turn around and immediately push them because they're speeding over to the right. So you got to do a lot of movement to make sure that the Texas defense is on its toes. I mean, the defense, they have a solid defense, but they do have spots where there's questionable play, especially in the secondary. They haven't dealt with a quarterback actually trying to gash them yet. And so this is a chance. Like you said, if we can go out there and start establishing passes early, even short passes, dumps to the running back, a little screen here, a little shallow cross, something across the middle, the mesh concept, whatever, anything to keep them moving and keep them thinking is going to be a plus in this game. And I think Michael Hawkins is the dude that can do it, especially because of the fact that when he scrambles, they got a spy. And you know they're going to have at least one spy on him this entire game.
Right, but that just opens up opportunities for everybody else. If they're so focused on Michael Hawkins not beating them with his legs, then that's going to create opportunities for them to do some things off of that. You know, you're going to be able to run some play action, run some bootleg stuff where then he can just dump it off to a Taylor Tatum, you know, work into the flat, or a Bauer Sharp work into the flat, and then create a big play off of that, because they're going to be so concerned with that naked bootleg where then he can just take off and run. So they'll be watching that, but it's an opportunity, right? There's a counter to everything. Nothing is new really under the sun in offensive football. Whatever the defense does, the offense can figure out a way to counter that. I got to see my man Javonte Barnes average more than 4 yards per carry in this game. The run game averaged more than 4 yards a carry against Auburn as a collective, but my guy was 3.4 yards per carry. Again, it was improved from the Tennessee game. It was solid. It kept them in better situations offensively than what they were against Tennessee when they were in a lot more longer down and distances. Even at 3.5 yards per carry, they were getting to 3rd and 5. They were getting to 3rd and 4. It was still better. Now I need to see him take that step up and go to 4 yards per carry. Honestly, I need to see him have like a Jalil Farouk game.
Yeah.
For a running.
Yeah.
Go out.
He actually does.
Get 130 yards rushing, take the pressure off of the offense, and really set the tone for the offense. As much as obviously they got to get the passing attack going, but they got to get the running game going with better efficiency as well.
Yeah, that's going to be critical. And then I think the tight end room as well. I talked about them earlier this week. That's one room that I feel like Bauer Sharp, Jake Roberts, hopefully Caden Helm can play at some point. I would love to see that size of a tight end get out there, especially as athletic as he is. I would love to see him get out there. It's going to be key to getting them established early, especially across the middle. Use those big bodies to set some not only quote-unquote screens, but box some dudes out and catch some passes across the middle just to keep the chains moving. The biggest thing here is that you don't have to always get chunk plays. Sometimes you just got to nickel and dime your way through. Make it be the slow knife. The slow knife always gets people with the end, right? So if you just slowly just work your way, just chip away and chip away, chip away and chip away, and then boom, get a big play out of it, because you eventually will. The defense is going to get gassed. And again, I still feel like that entire team's going to be overlooking us, and they're looking at Georgia next week.
Yeah, well, and there's not really been anything from the Oklahoma offense consistently enough to feel like it's going to be a big problem. So it's going to be easy.
Not to warn it, right?
Yeah. Other than Michael Hawkins' speed, I don't think Texas is going to be coming into this worried a whole lot about much.
Oh, not at all.
But I think it's an opportunity for Oklahoma to surprise them, and especially if they're able to find some success early in the game, go on a nice 8 to 12 play drive to open the game and get some points on their first drive of the game. That could really set the tone for the team. Getting that offensive line healthy, I think it does create opportunity for them to be better and to be more efficient offensively. And that's really what you're looking for. You're just looking for more efficiency, because again, they created several drives. They had, 3 scoring drives. If I want to say that like that, not really drives, but you got the Michael Hawkins field goal drive in the 3rd quarter. They got another field goal later in the game. Obviously they got the touchdown early in the game, but find more efficiency where they can create longer drives and sustain those drives so they can have a better chance at putting points on the board.
Yeah, it's 100% about having the ball as long as possible. Again, Vanderbilt beat Alabama by getting them in a time of possession of 42-17. Even if you don't have the same amount of talent as your opposition, if you can hold the ball for that long, all you're going to do is exhaust them at some point. And that is exactly what Vanderbilt did in that game. They just ran the ball. They did a little trickery here or there. They basically played their offense based upon the concepts that the defense provided them. That's all we got to do in this game. If we do that, I think we'll see success. I can definitely see we hit the prediction that I think I'm going to have for this game.
And we got to get a little bit of Michael Hawkins Sooner magic, some Magic Mike,
of course,
some Magic Mike in the first ever start for an Oklahoma true freshman quarterback inside Red River. Got to get a little bit of magic going in this game. Hey, last time Texas played a true freshman quarterback in Red River Showdown, it was Caleb Williams back in 2021, and a lot of magic happened. So we're not going to sleep on the magic. We're not going to sleep on Sooner magic in this game. What's the defense got to do? They're going to have to do a lot. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.5% APY on uninvested cash, receive unlimited 1% deposit bonuses, and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on an IRA account. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 per month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC.
Hey, college fans, Home Field Apparel is hooking you up this season. They're making the gear for you, just like you can see this hoodie I've got. I picked up one of the big boxes because I need to make sure that I was decked out for every game this year. And right now, they've still got some of the boxes out there. They've got some standard boxes, which contain about 3 never-before-seen items for your school, and they're not going to be available anywhere else. And they also curating different shirts and hoodies and jackets all season long. If you don't want to miss out on those, check out the Platinum Box. The Platinum Boxes, the Platinum Box VIPs, they get a hat to go along with the 3 items, as well as a koozie, and they get the Platinum Pass, which guarantees 20% off and early access. That way you don't miss out on any of these drops for your school's release throughout the entire season. So go check them out. I got my box. I got my Platinum Pass just so I can go and make sure that I pick up some of the best gear. Go to homefieldapparel.com and use our promo code Sooner24 to get 15% off your first purchase. That's homefieldapparel.com, promo code Sooner24.
Thanks so much for making Locked On Sooners your first listen of the day. Again, shout out to all the everydayers out there tuning in and subscribing to the show wherever they get their podcasts. Jay, give me a defensive key to the game for the Sooners.
Turnovers. Offense, keep the ball. Defense, take it. Texas will give you the ball. They have some turnovers. They fumbled the ball twice, I think, against Mississippi State, which kept that game like a 1-point game up, almost up at the half, and I think it was ended up being 14-6. So, and then Texas ended up running away in the second half because they started taking care of the ball. But we are very opportunistic, not only in the pass, but also in the run. So for us, we're going to have to get a lot of pressure on Quinn, get as many hits as possible, while also forcing those turnovers. I anticipate we will. He's going to try to be more careful than he was before, but the way that this pass rush is, which, to be honest, it's improved from last year. Last year's was solid. In this game, the pass rush has gotten better in comparison, and all we've got to do is just keep putting helmets in the chest. The more you hit this young man, the more he's going to tighten up. And when he tightens up, that oblique's going to get a little weird. And those passes ain't going to fly the way that he's used to. You got to keep pressure on him. If you keep the pressure on him, I think that Oklahoma will have a really good chance of getting that offense off the field.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've got to make Quinn Ewers uncomfortable early in this game. It's been a few weeks since he last played. I want to say back in week 3?
Yeah, week 3 last time he
UTSA.
played, yeah.
So, he didn't get to play against Mississippi State. He didn't play against ULA Monroe. So, it's He hasn't played significant action. So make him uncomfortable early, put pressure on him, and not just put pressure on him, but also confuse him. Just throw out some of your zone blitz looks where you're dropping guys into coverage that maybe he doesn't expect to drop. And like they do, like they'll drop a Trace Ford into coverage, they'll drop an R Mason into coverage, but you have an opportunity to create some confusion early on in the game, and that'll have him guessing or second guessing what he's looking at throughout the game. And if you can make him uncomfortable both mentally and physically in the first quarter, I think that's going to go a long way to helping the Oklahoma Sooners defense have success on Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be all about the pressure. We know that Zach Galley's going to be dialing up some exotic stuff. You know that they're going to be prepared thoroughly for this game. The defense has improved from last year. As Texas would tell you, their offense has also improved. That's great. Our defense is better than what it was last year. They're a lot more they're more intentional with where they go. They're making sure they're in the right spots. They're susceptible to the deep pass just because we like to, get really, really aggressive. But I think they're going to be prepared for Texas trying some of their deep passes. I think that we'll have the personnel out there that's ready for a deep pass to try to go over the top. Or we'll just have ourselves a couple guys there to bracket. Texas in wide receiver room, I guess you could say it's improved from last year. They will say it is. I don't know if these guys are going to get themselves drafted in the first 3 rounds. I think that last year's team, wide receiver room was really good. So for us, the key thing is making sure that they're not able to be comfortable also. Get in the chest of those wide receivers, knock off some of their routes, make them mad, make them frustrated. But if anything, physicality is going to be critical in the success for this game.
Yeah, because Texas is going to come into this one trying to prove a point on the physical side of things, 100%. Because Oklahoma was able to bully them last year, especially on the goal line stand. Texas ran for a good number of yards, but it didn't matter in that game because when it got down to crunch time, down in the red zone, Oklahoma was the more physical team. Whether it was the goal line stand, the the Billy Bowman hit on JT Sanders that led to the Kendall Dolby interception. There was a number of occasions where Oklahoma was the more intense team on that, defense versus the offense. They were the more physical team, and that translated throughout the entire game. So it's going to be a physical matchup. The offensive line has taken that as a challenge against Oklahoma's defensive line, but Oklahoma's defensive line is better than what it was last year, especially the interior. It is better. And I think the edge group is better because you've got an R. Mason Thomas that's available for you. You've got depth with Caden Woolard that can come in as a rotational piece as well. It's just a better group. Trace Ford is playing really, really good football. Last year, I think he was really up and down because it was his first year in the system. Now he's really settling in and he's starting to star for you. The last couple of games, he's been a very impactful player, and that's going to continue to improve for him. But you've got a deeper defense. If you can prevent the big play, like you just talked about, Jay, that's going to go a long way to helping Oklahoma win this game. And I think they can win, even with all of the wide receiver injuries that you've got, even with some of the question marks at cornerback because of all the big plays. I still think that there's a path for Oklahoma to win this game if they take care of the football, if they attack, if they're able to find some consistency on offense, if one of the wide receivers steps up and has a big game and has one of, like I said, the I'm him moment. I'm looking at you, JJ Hester. You've got the size, you got the speed, you got the physicality to go be him this week. This is your time to shine now. It's your time to go and announce yourself as a big time wide receiver prospect, not just at the collegiate level, but at the NFL level too. So I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling optimistic. And I know you guys hear that from me a lot. I'm an optimistic person by nature, but I do think that there's a path to victory for Oklahoma. And I think as we saw at the end of the Auburn game, there's a little bit of the magic mojo at play right now. And so as we get into our predictions for this game, Jay, I'm going to say it's Oklahoma 24-23 on the last second field goal from either Zach Schmidt or Tyler Keltner. I don't care which one, because I think both of those guys are kicking the ball really, really well this season.
Just kick it. It's all we ask for. I'm still 24-20. I think Oklahoma holds on with another stop at the end of the game to prevent Texas from even getting into field goal range. Probably a turnover. The big thing here is to stuff, right? For me, I initially was thinking it's going to be under 20 for both teams, be more of like a 19-16 type deal with the game-winning field goal. Could totally see this game being a whole bunch of field goals. The critical thing here is, though, muscle them. Be physical, push them around. Texas does not have a run game right now, right? They got Quintavion Wisner is their starting back now because Jaden Blue had to be pulled because he had 2 fumbles against Mississippi State. Yeah, the run game isn't there for them. They're going to want to pass it. And so if we can force them to keep throwing the ball and keep getting them quarterbacks hit, we're in a good spot.
Yep. And that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports. Also go check out his channel, Unfair Sports, as well. Go check out his new show with Zach Blackerby and Kenton. Sorry.
Kenton Gibbs.
I always forget Kenton Gibbs. 3-point stance, where they're breaking down some of the lines for the weekend as well. It's a great show. Just another great product here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can also go check out Locked On College Football, Locked On SEC to get you ready for this weekend's action. A lot of big games this weekend in the SEC. Follow me at John 9 Williams. You can also read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com, and make sure to subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. Follow the show at Locked On Sooners on all the social media platforms. But until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. Boomer Sooner.